At 21 weeks pregnant, I went over to Spain for a 13K on some steep and technical trails.
We are going to Spain. I have a race there this weekend, and so I'm finishing up packing up before I head over to the airport today. And I'm going to bring you along and show you some of the essentials that I always pack on every trip that I go on.
I'm bringing along Morton bicarb. This is really good. It helps to buffer lactic acid while I race so that I don't go lactic super early on in the race. So definitely essential for travel and for racing. And of course, some Morton gels too.
Got my AeroPress, so I always have good coffee.
And then this is a bag I always bring. This is like my mandatory equipment bag. Some races have mandatory equipment, and usually it's a lot of the same stuff. It's gloves, a rain jacket, which is already in my bag. This is an emergency blanket. I think I have a whistle in here. A lot of races have this mandatory equipment. I like to bring it along with me just in case I missed something on the race website and I don't have to scramble around when I'm in a different country trying to look for all these things. I'm packing up this bag with a bunch of stuff that I need for racing so that if my big bag gets lost in travel, I have everything that I need in here to race. So I got my shoes, the Merrell Skyfire 2s, got my pregnancy belt, definitely an essential, especially for right now as I'm training. It helps just reduce the load and the impact on my pelvis while I'm running, so really, really helpful. And then I have just a bunch of clothes in here, my race clothes and things like that, so that I have some clothes if my bag does get lost. This is Luco tape. This is my favorite tape for trail runners. I tape on my ankles some if I sprain my ankle or they feel a little bit weak. It's been super helpful this year, especially as my ligaments feel like they're loosening up a little bit. This is really great tape. And I'm normally wearing this, but this is the Sunto Vertical 2. This is the watch that I'll race in. Really, really great watch for the trails. It's great on the trails. The GPS is amazing. The battery life is incredible, and it has a bunch of features that help me out while I'm racing. I can load the race route on there so I don't get lost either during the race or during a course scout before I race, so that's really nice. This is my favorite watch for the trails.
Those are all my travel essentials. Of course, I'm packing other stuff too, but that's the main stuff that I bring for races. That's really important for me to have a great race. I'm packed up, I'm ready, so let's head to the airport.
During this travel, I went from Denver to Frankfurt, Frankfurt to Malaga, then took a short Uber ride to the race in Benalmádena. This travel was really smooth. I was actually able to sleep a little on the planes, and all my bags got there, so really this was a 10 out of 10 travel experience as far as international travel goes. Once I got there, I looked around the Airbnb, found out that Grandpa was staying here with me, and took a walk to explore the town.
We made it, first day in Spain. I'm super stoked. I'm gonna go out and do a course scout today and see what the course is looking like. I'm staying super close, so it should be easy to get out there and explore a little bit, so that'll be fun. This was some of the smoothest travel I've ever had for a race, which is really nice. A lot of times in trail races, you take a couple flights and then the town that you're racing in is still like 3 hours away from the airport, so you have to take a train or rent a car to that town. But this time I just had 2 flights. They were super smooth and no delays. Got my bags and everything. They didn't get lost this time. So super smooth. And then the town that I'm racing in is like 15 minutes away from the airport. So super easy travel. I slept for like 10 hours last night, so I'm feeling good. Really excited to get out there and explore a little bit in Spain today. I didn't have coffee while I was traveling, so I'm very excited. Almost too excited for this cup of coffee.
It's a little rainy out, so I'm going to load up the course on my watch, and that helps a ton because it's really hard to see on my phone when it gets wet out there, so it's really easy to just load the course up on my watch so that I don't have to mess with wet equipment while I'm out in the trail. It's all loaded up on there, so I should be good. I'll be able to see all the turns on the course, and it makes it super easy to not get lost in the trails, especially when I'm in a new place like Spain where I don't want to get lost. I had a lot of fun on this run. I love foggy runs, and it was rainy and foggy out, which made for some really good vibes on the trails. I decided to do an out and back on the downhill portion of the race course today so I could really study the downhill. During pregnancy, I've been really careful on downhills because I don't want to have any big falls, and I can feel my ligaments start to loosen up, so I want to be comfortable on the terrain before I race. I was feeling a little tired and jet lagged today, but the foggy vibes kept me going, and this ended up being my favorite run of the whole trip.
I'm I'm about to get out for this run today. I woke up feeling pretty tired, so that's okay. I think it's just a little bit of the jet lag still and trying to get used to the time zone here, but I slept for 10 hours, so hopefully I wake up tomorrow feeling great. But about to head out for this run. I'm gonna check out the uphill today since I checked out the downhill yesterday. It's pretty steep, so this may turn into more of a hike than actually a run, but that's okay. I'm excited to get out there and see some of the course and yeah, just have another day exploring in Spain. I felt really bad on this run. I felt a little off waking up and I was having a really hard time adjusting to this time zone, so I kept waking up really late in the morning. The race starts at 5:45 in the evening, so I tried to prioritize getting as much sleep as I could, even if that meant waking up a little later. Unfortunately, waking up late meant that I was running in the heat of the day, and today was drastically different weather than the day before. The sun was beaming down, and I've realized during pregnancy that heat really affects me more than normal, so I had to back off a lot today to make sure I kept this run easy. I ran up the uphill part of the course, and to keep it easy, I didn't go all the way up to the top. About 3/4 of the way there, I got a good idea of what I was getting myself into during the steep and techie portion of this race, so I didn't feel like I needed to get to the high point to discover more pain today. I'll save that for race day. I also realized how thankful I was that the race was going up this section of the course instead of down it, because this downhill in a race would be wild. I thought I was so prepared, but I just realized that a headlamp is part of the mandatory equipment for this race, and I forgot to bring that in my mandatory equipment bag, so now I'm on the hunt for a headlamp in Spain. The worst part of all of this is the disappointing look in Grandpa's eyes when he found out how unprepared I was. I ChatGPT'd a good place to go to find a headlamp, and it was in a town about 30 minutes away, so I took an Uber to the mall and successfully tracked down a headlamp. I've been getting baby a souvenir from everywhere we traveled together this year, so I looked around for a little to see if I could find something, but surprisingly, everything in the baby section was super Americanized, so I decided to keep looking. Headlamp in hand, it was time to get back home for another 10 hours of sleep. Well, I woke up today with a sore throat, so that's kind of a bummer, but it makes a lot more sense why my Oura ring was telling me that my body was showing some signs of stress the past couple days. The good thing is that it was actually saying today that I was stress-free, which is nice. Even though my throat is sore, my energy's actually been pretty good through the day, so I think I am recovering, and this is just some kind of minor cold. Hopefully I'll feel good to race tomorrow, but yeah, I just laid really low today. I didn't run. I went out for a walk. I have been hydrating or trying to hydrate really well. I've been sleeping a bunch and just laying low today. But yeah, hopefully I feel good tomorrow. I'm about to go and pick up my bib, and yeah, I'm starting to get excited for race day tomorrow. I woke up feeling so much better today, so I am gonna get out there and race. My sore throat is about 80% of the way there, I would say. Not feeling 100%, but good enough to race. I'm not feeling drowsy, I'm not feeling dizzy, I don't have a headache, nothing like that. Really, all it is a sore throat, so I feel safe to run, which is the most important thing. I don't think that it's going to be my best race ever, obviously, because I'm coming off of a cold and also pregnant, but it is gonna be a really fun adventure out there, and so I'm trying to frame it that way. Honestly, this year and pregnancy, I feel like racing has just been a lot more fun and freeing to do. I put a lot of expectations on myself and a lot of pressure on myself when I'm racing because this is my job, it's my profession, so I really care about the races and how I do in them, especially during a normal year. But this year, since I'm pregnant, I really feel like I don't have expectations on me, which just really frees me up to run. And I try to go into every mindset with the mindset that if I do my best, then that's the best I can do on that day, and that's good enough. And even when I'm racing regularly, that's the mindset that I try to have, but I'm not always great at zoning into that mindset. But this year, I really have been able to zone into that mindset, and yeah, it's just brought this childlike freedom back into racing. And so that's been really fun this year, and I'm hoping to carry that with me into the future years of racing too. But yeah, like I said, I'm just framing this as having a fun adventure out in Spain, and yeah, getting to explore a little bit in the trails out here. But yeah, I'm stoked. Let's get to the race. This race was basically a classic mountain style race, which means it was just one climb followed by a descent. I'm 21 weeks pregnant at this point, and I'm somewhere between 10 and 15 pounds heavier than I was pre-pregnancy, so that makes climbing a lot more challenging. I was in first for the first mile and a half of the race, but I got passed by a woman when we got to the really steep portion of the climb. I tried to hold on and go with her, but I was already breathing pretty heavily, and I knew that I needed to save some energy for the downhill, so I focused on zoning into the effort I knew was sustainable for me. I felt way better today than I felt the last couple days, so I was really thankful for that during this race, but I still felt like my breathing was a lot more labored than normal at this output, so listening to my body was really key for this race. The very top of this climb was super technical. If you know anything about scrambling, I found out after that this was probably a class 4 scramble. I was really proud of myself because if you had asked me before, I think I would have said I would feel good doing a class 2 or 3 scramble, but wouldn't have been comfortable on a class 4 scramble. So new skill unlocked for me. When I got to the top, someone yelled that first was only 5 seconds ahead of me, but she was definitely more like 45 seconds ahead because I could barely see her on the trail. I didn't know what her downhill would be like, so I thought maybe I could catch her if I had a good downhill, but I've been half sending downhills this year due to I don't want to fall, so I ran a pace that I felt sure-footed with while still pushing. I only got passed by one guy, and I passed about 10 to 15 guys, but I could never catch the woman in first, so I ended up finishing second. My main goal of this race was to make it on the podium, so mission accomplished, and I was really proud of how I pushed during this one. The last and very important thing I needed to do was to find a souvenir for baby girl. I went to the marina with a couple friends, looked around all the shops, and found her this perfect little sailboat. I can't wait to tell her all the places she's been and teach her the values of believing in herself, that doing hard things is always worth it, and to show her that I'll always be on her side cheering her on. That was a really fun race for me. I have really enjoyed just being able to go internationally and race some during pregnancy, and this race was also a really great reminder that you can do some really hard things even if you're not at the top of your game. Obviously, I always try to listen to my body, but if I'm feeling a little bit off, normally I can still perform at a pretty high level. It may not be my best race ever, but I try to live by the motto of just try because you never know until you try. So I think that you can still do some really good things on days where you don't feel amazing. In general, I'm somebody who usually pushes instead of backing down when I'm not feeling great, and I've gotten a lot better through the years with listening to my body, but I really do like things like the Aura Ring because it just gives me metrics on how I'm feeling and helps me know that I'm not crazy if I am feeling a little bit off sometimes. It really helps on those days where I'm not sure in training if I want to push on that day or take an extra rest day. Like this week, I took an extra rest day before the race, and I think that really helped me to recover from my cold before racing, and it helped me feel a lot better on race day. But also, I try not to let those metrics just dictate what I think and how I'm feeling. So if I'm a little bit off or my sleep score is a little bit lower than I'd want it to be, I don't let those things get in my head, but if there is a major sign of stress that it's showing, I definitely pay attention to that. And once I decide that I'm going to race, I try to put all of those thoughts out of my head of like, you might not feel good, this may not be the best race ever, things like that, and I'm just totally zoned in on trying to do my best on that day. And like I said, who knows, you may have an incredible day, even if your body is feeling a little bit off. I think that the mind is an incredible thing, and you can do some really incredible things while you're not feeling on the top of your game. So to sum it all up, the Aura Ring helps me a lot in training to know when to push and when to back off, when I need extra recovery, things like that. But if I decide that I'm going to race, I try to push all of those things out of my mind and know that I've decided to race, so I'm going to do my best and give my all on that day. Anyway, this was a really fun race again. I'm glad that I was able to go over to Spain and compete a little bit. I have one more international race in pregnancy before I'm going to shut it down a little bit and race some in the US. So look out for a video on that race over in France. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please make sure to like and subscribe for more running content and adventures in the trails, and I'll see you next time.